Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Ronald and Murph here. Today is Tuesday, October 25th, 2022 AD. And today I'm going to talk to you about my MiG 130. Check this puppy out, man. It's very nice. Now there's some things I like about it that's really great, and there's some other things I don't not so cool about. But before we get into the machine itself, let me go over some of the accessories that come with it. First of all, this is the most pathetic wire brush and chipping hammer I have ever seen. This is pathetic. It's horrible. I mean, barely worth the plastic and metal that it's made out of. Okay, so you've got a strap you carry, like if you want to carry it, you can put your plastic strap right here, and you can attach it and carry it that way if you want to, which I'm not going to do. I'm just going to use the handle on the top here. Okay, so there's that. Next we have, let me separate these two here. Okay, this is the stinger if you're going to do stick or SMAW or shielded metal arc welding, known as stick welding to a lot of people. This has got a very nice clamp to it, so this is very well made. Very nice, okay? It's very simple. Simply plug it into the machine, and you have a range of 30 to 130 amps, which for a machine of this size with a 60% duty cycle isn't too bad. Now, 60% duty cycle means it works for 6 out of 10 minutes, and the reason it does that is because if you went over that, it would overheat. So it has a duty cycle of 60%, which means that if you're welding for 6 constant minutes, it'll stop. So the machine doesn't catch on fire or overdo your electrical or whatever. So keep that in mind. But normally when you're stick welding, you're not going to be welding a minute, maybe 2 at the most. So it's normally not for stick welding or SMAW, that's shielded metal arc welding. It's not a big deal. The duty cycle comes more into play when it has to do with the flux core. But again, the stinger or electrode holder is very nice and very well made. So I'm very impressed with that. Next, we have the ground clamp, and it's very well made as well. It's smaller than most ones I've seen or used, but it's still very nice. So very well made. Just plug it in your machine, you're good to go. Okay, you've got one extra tip, so that won't last long. I mean, it'll last, well, it depends on how much you use it, but if you use it right, it should last a long time. But it's just one of those things, when you weld, it's eventually going to be used up, because it's just one of the things. Put a lot of heat through this metal, and eventually it's going to wear out. Now, let me tell you about the welding with this machine. First of all, again, with the stick welding or SMAW, which is shielded metal arc welding, you've got the range of 30 to 130 amps, which for some thin electrodes isn't too bad considering the size of this machine. Now, it's flux core only when it comes to gas metal arc welding, or GMAW, or MIG. And the reason it's flux core only is because there's no place on the back here to insert gas from a cylinder. So it has to be flux core. So basically that means the flux is on the inside of the wire, and the reason you have to use that kind is because, again, there's no place to put a gas cylinder to do standard GMAW. Now let me show you here. I'll open up the top here. What you do, there's a thing on this side you open up, and then there's one on this side. You put your wire here, your coil of wire, run it through here, and then when you pull the trigger, there's a mechanism here that pulls it through, and you're good to go. This is very nice for something this size. This is I'm really impressed with it. I mean, for something this size and this cost, it's a very nice little machine. Now, there is something you have to take into consideration, though, when you're doing this, and that is 130 amps. When you're doing the flux core arc welding, you can adjust the wire speed, but you cannot adjust the amperage. It's set to 130 automatically. It's set to full out heat. So you can't adjust the amperage. You can adjust the wire speed, which is very nice, but the amperage is on the maximum setting at all times when you're flux core arc welding. So you have to keep that in mind. But that's the one thing I don't really like. But for something of this size, it's not a big deal. And once you get used to it, it's like I said, if you've done flux core arc welding or something with a machine this small, it doesn't take long to get used to it if you're familiar with the flux core process. But if you've never done flux core at a steady 130, not had the choice of changing it, I mean, it does take a little getting used to, but it's not bad. So now, obviously, if you wanted to be able to adjust that, you'd have to buy a bigger machine with more options. That would cost a lot more. But considering the price of this unit, what you get, what you can do with it, it's very, very nice. Now, obviously, it's not perfect, and there's things that we can do to improve it. But for a welder starting out who needs to do stick or SMAW or flux core arc welding, this is a nice little machine. I mean, you can plug this into any household outlet and be good to go, which for welding is not something you can normally always do. Now, keep in mind, when you do plug this machine in and start using it, it's kind of like plugging in one of those space heaters, where if you have too much electricity going through the wall outlet, it may trip the circuit breaker. So you may have to, when you run this, you may have to, just make sure you're not running, a whole bunch of them, or trying to run more than one, or running a whole lot of electricity at the same time, because this will take up some electricity, and it may, like I said, if you try to run too much through one circuit where you're plugged in, it's like a space heater. It may trip your circuit breaker. So just, make sure that you have plenty of power to go to the machine. And again, I keep comparing it, but that's a good way to do it, is to compare it to a space heater, where if you plug in too many space heaters in your house on the same circuit, it'll trip the circuit and it'll turn the power off. And that's done as a safety feature, so you don't burn the wiring in your house or your garage or whatever. Same thing with this. So just keep that in mind. So again, not perfect, but considering the price, it looks good, it feels good, it does a really nice job. It comes with a roll of wire, comes with one contact tip. You can buy contact tips relatively cheap, so they're not too expensive to add, when the one that comes with it plus the one that comes in this bag, wear out. But overall, it's very nice. And like I said, I mean, I can't say it enough. For the price you're paying for this machine, the fact that it can do stick and flux core, and you can run it off of standard outlets, very nice. Now, of course, you're going to have proper welding hood and proper clothing to protect yourself while welding. But again, this is a very nice little machine. Again, there's things, obviously, I wish there were other things it can do, and there are other machines that can do a lot more, but considering it, again, size, price, portability, plugging into a standard outlet, The weight, the way it looks, the way it feels in the hands when you carry it. It's very, very nice. Of course, that little brush that came with it. This is a piece of crap. Buy a separate brush. So until next time, I'm Randall M. Roof saying thanks for watching. Have a good day. God bless.